and welcome to another running vlog. Now you might be thinking, he's not outside, he's not wearing his running gear. Well, today's video is going to be a little bit different because as this is my very last video of 2020, I've decided that I'm going to talk about how I make the videos. There's a little bit of kind of background knowledge. That'll be interesting. It'll be different, certainly. So I'm just getting ready to go out for a run now, and this is the stuff that I'm taking with me. So I've got all my different bits of running gear that I'm going to take with me, and I'll show you some of that while I'm out. And also, this is what I use to film when I'm running. It's actually an iPhone, so it just shows that any kind of modern smartphone, any Android phone as well, it's perfectly good enough actually for filming when you're out and about. This particular model is an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and I use the front-facing selfie camera actually to film in 4K. I normally film in, and it's good enough, and it means that I can see what I'm filming, and I can see how the picture is kind of framed. When I'm out and about, it's actually okay using the iPhone holding it up. It's kind of, you know, it's okay shape-wise. I'm always a little bit worried about dropping it. So I have it in Mous case, I think you pronounce it M-O-U-S, and they're supposed to be very good if you drop your phone. I don't know, I haven't tried it, don't really want to, and I'm not sure if I was actually running and I dropped it, I'm not sure how well it would protect it. It's supposed to, so I'm kind of, you know, I'm always fearful that I'm going to drop the phone, but you know, I do my best and try not to. So you don't normally, of course, see that phone when I'm running, so I thought I'd show you that as well. In the past, long time ago, if you've been watching for a long time, in fact, any videos prior to about September 2019, yeah, 2019, September 2019, when the iPhone 11 came out. Prior to that, I used an iPhone 6S Plus. And again, I used a front-facing selfie camera, but the picture quality on that was a lot less, and it didn't have any kind of image stabilization in it. So they're very jumpy and jerky, those videos, especially if you count to 5K videos, very jumpy. And that's because I was using that older phone. But even that older phone, actually, the picture quality was reasonable. It wasn't that bad. Anyway, enough rambling. Let me get out, go for a run, and I'll tell you a little bit about the filming process as I go. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what I do and how these videos work. So I'm just heading out for a run now, and you can see I've got my AirPods in, which is what I wear for my runs. I've got a pair of sunglasses here because it's sunny, and I've got my running hat because it's not very warm. So I'm about to do my intro to the video, the sort of warm up before I go. And when I've done that, I will be running. So there's not really anything particularly amazing about my warm-up. I literally just get my phone, get my gear, do a bit of waffling, and then off I go. So I'm now going to record my intro to my next video. Right, there we are. So I've just recorded my intro to the video. It was a very short intro because I knew I was recording this as well. So I thought otherwise I'm just going to be recording videos and not actually doing any running. So yes, time to get cracking now. Time to do my run. It's just a very short intro today, but that's what I normally do the intro, and then while I'm doing my warm-up. And so normally then my warm-up is a few minutes. I suppose it can be as low as 5 minutes, depending how long my run is. It can be as long as sort of 10, depending on how much waffling I'm doing. And yeah, so then I get cracking. Right, getting on well with the run. I've just pulled the phone out, so I'm about to do some filming of what will be the montage in that particular one. So it's just a case of seeing whether I'm somewhere interesting enough to film. This isn't that interesting, but it is a little bit further down there. Right, I've just done a little bit of rambly post-run video, as is my way. I make it up as I go along, really. Sometimes I think a little bit about what I'm going to talk about. I mean, I do quite often think, oh, I'll talk about such and such a subject, but I don't like script it and rehearse it or anything like that. You know, I just kind of wing it. And in some ways that's a good thing, because I think maybe I come across a bit more naturally than if it was, you know, a script. But on the other hand, it is rambly. And that might put some people off, maybe, who might otherwise, you know, prefer like some kind of slick, well-constructed, put together video. But yeah, that's not my style. I've tried to do that. I've even got actually a bit of equipment. I've got like a teleprompter thing, and you can put, it works with your iPad, and you can put your iPad on it, and and it works. It's got a mirror, and then you have the camera behind it, and you can read your script off. And I've used that for some of my tech videos, but it takes an awful lot of time to write a script, actually, a huge amount of time. It makes the production of the videos go ramp right up. They do look a bit more professional, but it all takes a lot of time. And let's face it, I don't think I'd be able to put a teleprompter in my pocket. You know, are you pleased to see me? Or have you got a teleprompter in your pocket? The old ones are the best ones, aren't they? Hey? Hey! Anyway, I'm rambling. You see, look, I told you I'd ramble. So anyway, now I've got all the footage, and what I need to do is to get home, and after I've done all the shower and all that kind of malarkey, get it off this device and get it on the computer, ready to edit. That's what's next. Okay, I'm back from my run. I'm sat safely at my computer, and it is time now for me to get the videos off of my phone onto the computer so that I can edit them and try and cut out some of the rambling, which of course I don't do. But I do some sort of editing, as we will see. So I'll show you how I get the videos off my phone. I'm in the Apple ecosystem. I'm not an Apple fanboy, so if you're an Android user, you use Windows or something, then don't panic. I'm not going to get all Apple-y on you all of a sudden. But I will show you how I get the things off. I don't have to plug any cables in, which is marvellous. What I do is to use something called AirDrop, and that enables me to simply send the files, the videos in this case, and still photos that I've taken as well for the thumbnail, from my phone and just drop them straight into the downloads folder on my computer. And I'll show you how I do that. So the first thing that I do is to select the photos and the videos from the Photos app on my iPhone, and then I can select them all. You'll see here that I'm just pressing the ones that I want to transfer across to my computer. Then I tap on the share button, and I can select my computer from the list of options that it gives me. Now my computer is called Marcella. I'm a very sad git. I name all of my devices after literary or television, certainly fictional, detectives. So Marcella is my computer. It makes the long winter evenings just fly by. So anyway, I'm going to press the button now to transfer those onto my computer. I get a little pop-up on the computer to say that they're arriving, and then they drop into my downloads folder. So I copy the files across onto where I'm going to edit them from, and then I tend to rename those files so that they have a meaningful name when I come to edit them later on. So I know if they're the B-roll, which is what you call the films that are not actually me talking to the camera, they're things that I'm going to slot in afterwards. So normally that's like my montage, my running bits when I'm actually running about. And I name the intro, I name the outro, and then I have thumbnail pictures that I'm going to use that you see, that hopefully when you see my smiley face, it will make you click on them. But there is one more thing that I do need to take before I can get across there, and that is a snapshot from the fitness app on my iPhone that has tracked from my watch onto the phone how I did on that run, how far I went, what the time was, the split times, my heart rate, all of this kind of stuff. And I take a screenshot of that on my iPhone as an image, airdrop that image across to my Mac, and then that is then there ready for me to put into the video. Right, let's get editing. To edit, I use a piece of software called Final Cut Pro 10. It's similar to Adobe Premiere, you may have heard of that, and there's also DaVinci Resolve. These are the main editors that people tend to use on their computers for creating videos. But of course, these are like the professional, they're the paid, they're the expensive options out there. So there are other freer options available, such as if you're in the Apple ecosystem, there's something called iMovie, which is excellent, but that works on a single timeline. Something like Final Cut Pro 10 and Adobe Premiere will use non-linear video editing, which means that you can have multiple lines above each other and below for audio, which will enable you to build up and see visually what's going on in your timeline, what's happening with the different clips that you're importing and exporting, adding transitions and effects and all this kind of thing. Now, I've used non-linear video editors for a very long time. When I used to use Windows, I used something called Media Studio Pro, which has probably long since ceased to exist. But I love that piece of software, and so I've been favourite of that kind of environment for a very long time. So that's why something like iMovie for me doesn't quite go far enough. But I'm not knocking it because there's a lot of full-time YouTubers who use iMovie and software like it and create some really great results. So if you want to have a dabble at creating things for YouTube or for anything else for that matter, something like iMovie is a great place to start because it's completely free. And if you've got an iPhone, an iPad or a Mac, then it will be on there. It's available for you to use and away you go. But if you get a little bit more, you want to have a little bit more control, you want to get a little bit more into it, then something like Adobe Premiere, or for me, Final Cut Pro, will give you that much more ability to alter things and to make them look really spot on. So I'm in the process of editing one of my regular videos here. This is one that went out on the 17th of December in actual fact, which I brought up just to show you. And you can see in the timeline that I've got various things here. This bit at the start here is my intro there. There's me just rabbiting and waffling and saying, oh look, what am I wearing? So that's there. If I scroll on a little bit, we can see the montage. So that there is the montage. That's my nice little effect that I have there, and I've put like this sort of whooshing sound over the top of it. So if I kind of play it back, yeah, so you'll see there sort of a little whoosh, which I like, and I use that whoosh elsewhere. You can see sort of at the bottom I've got the audio there, the music, and this is one where I've found an appropriate place of where I can kind of fade that music in, and so I have it low so it doesn't interfere too much with my audio, and then I ramp it right up for the montage, and that goes right across here. So that's quite good there, and I also put in what the little sort of flicker effect thing there, which then says what the music is that's actually playing at the moment. And when it comes to the montage, you'll know that I play a bit of music, and often that music will be at the end of the video as well. YouTube actually has got free music that you can use, but I tend to find some of that not that great. It's all right, but I wanted something a bit better. So I actually pay to have music, pay license to have music in the videos. So there I can find different artists, different kinds of music, different genres, and then I can pick and place that music in my videos, and I pay a license fee, pay a royalty fee to the artist, well, to the supplier who then plays the artist, for using that music. Yeah, it means it's an expense, and of course I don't make an awful lot of money out of these videos, and it is an expense, but I kind of want to give them a good feel, a good kind of feel of production, if you like. And part of my attempt to do that is to have this paid for music in the videos, and I hope that comes across, and I hope you kind of like the sort of montagey musicy bits. I don't know, perhaps you skip through them, but I kind of like to do that, and I'll keep doing it, I think, for the foreseeable future. If we go over here, that's after the montage. There I am, waffle, 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 and I'm cutting in to the times that I quite often stick up on the screen. I kind of got into this habit of sticking the times up on the screen. I don't know whether anybody ever really looks at them, but it's a habit for me, so I do it anyway. And I've got a shot there of me running underneath, which is one that I don't change that very often, but sometimes I will put a new version of running. Perhaps, I don't know, perhaps I've got some extra hairs on my leg and I think I need to update this little bit that goes under. No, it's not it. I just update it occasionally if I kind of feel like it. And this is this image on the right hand side there that I've pulled in, the one that I screenshot from my phone, that shows the various parameters of my run and how I did. Something I've noticed recently is that the splits, it doesn't seem to show kilometre 5. Even if I've gone just over kilometre 5, it seems to only show the first 4. If I've done 10, it maybe only shows 9. I don't know why that is. It never used to do that. So it's some sort of update, an upgrade has introduced that bug, and nobody at Apple seems to have noticed that. But you know, there we go. No one has noticed it in the comments either. So I'm not knocking it. It's one of those things. So let's go on here through the timeline, and then we've got my thing at the end here. And again, I've got all sorts of various bits of sound that are going on. A lot of people, you may not see this end bit here, people tend to drop off. The analytics on YouTube tell me people drop off when I say, well, that's it for this week. Right, next video, because people do that on YouTube. But I spent a lot of time creating my nice little end bit, but no, I don't think very many people watch it. Never mind. So that's that little bit there, and off it goes, and bye-bye. Thanks for watching, blah, 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 end of that. So this actually, as far as it goes, is quite simple, really. This could probably be edited quite easily on something like iMovie, because it's quite simple. There's not a lot of tracks in there. But at times, particularly with the when I get maybe lots of comments, I'm doing lots of feedback on the comments, there'll be all sorts of little things on that timeline. Also the tech videos, I tend to go a bit to town on some of the tech videos. Haven't made one of those for a while, but when I make those, there tends to be quite a lot of tracks. It can be going right up here, sometimes disappearing up behind the back. So I've got lots and lots of tracks and complicated things going on. But this is how I edit. And then when I've finished editing, I then send it to something called Compressor. Now, Compressor is a piece of software that Apple have introduced. It's like a separate, it's like an additional bit to Final Cut that you don't really need. But what it does is to optimize that video for a particular platform. In this case, it's going to be optimized for YouTube, but there's options in there for Facebook and other things. And also if I'm doing video editing for customers, for example, do a bit of video for their website, then I can use something on there to create an MP4 file, and I can scrunch it up and really optimize it so it's going to look as good and be good for streaming across the intertubes. But what I tend to use here is this one for up to 4K there, YouTube and Facebook it says there, and I can then put that on there, and I've got various options on here that I can do, all sorts of different things that I can do to the settings on here, but this is already optimized for sending to YouTube, so I'm quite happy with the defaults, frankly, and I use that. The final part of the process is to get the video onto the YouTubes. So what I do is to upload it straight through YouTube. You can send it directly to YouTube from Final Cut, but because I've got this extra step that I'm doing through Compressor, I tend to upload it manually straight through here, through the web browser, straight into the YouTubes. And when it's up there, I can then set various parameters such as the introductory text that you see underneath, and what playlist it goes into, and all the usual stuff. And of course, add the thumbnail. Now I use a piece of software called Affinity Photo. I was a long-time Photoshop user. When Adobe started renting their software, I went over to the Affinity suite, and I use Affinity Photo to create my thumbnails. So here I have my thumbnail. I've given the video a title. This particular one I call a sharp pain in the shoulder, because it was my torrid tale of being attacked by something inside my running top as I was out for a run, little git. So I have some pictures that I've taken, and I can drag those into Affinity Photo, and then I can have a look at the pictures that I've taken. Now on this particular run, what happened was that I started running and I realised I hadn't taken a picture for the thumbnail. And the problem is, if I take it after the run, I tend to look a bit hot and sweaty, and it's not very good for a thumbnail. So what I did was, as I started running, I started trying to take some photos as I was running along. But the problem is the camera's jiggling, I'm jiggling, everything's jiggling. So it makes it quite difficult. And you can see here, this is very blurry. That's another attempt, it's very blurry. So I did actually stop momentarily in order to take the thumbnail picture, which isn't very good when you've just started running. That's why this photo itself actually isn't the greatest one. So I literally stopped, pressed the button, took the picture, and then started running again. Not a good thing to do. So I try and remember to take the pictures when I'm actually started, before I've started running. So I'm now going to plonk that picture in there, and I'm going to scale it down and try and get a kind of appropriate-ish. You can see my arm in the picture, it's not that great. So this is not the best photo that I've ever taken for the thumbnail, but something like that. My goodness, look at the state of that. That is not good. So I'll have something like that for how it's going to look. Right, so a few minutes later, and I finished editing the picture. It's probably about as good as it's going to get, so I'm going to go with that. I'm not 100% happy with it, but it's as good as it's going to get, really, I think, for this particular video. So the final thing I do then is to set the launch date and time for the video. What I tend to do is to release them on a Thursday. The running videos come out on a Thursday, as you've probably seen, and I tend to release them at 6 o'clock in the morning, but I've just started to tweak that to a little bit later, because YouTube like people to pick up on videos soon after they release, and that early in the morning I don't think people will be watching them. So I started pushing them a little bit later. You might have noticed instead of 6 o'clock they're more like 7 o'clock, and I'm wondering whether I should actually push it and make it even later than that. I'm kind of thinking about it at the moment, so more people watch the video. So I'd be quite interested in the comments to know what time and day do you watch my videos if you're a regular viewer, because I'm wondering whether if I tweak the time, whether I get a little bit more uptake on the videos. I don't know. Anyway, this has been a background look at how I make the videos, how I kind of waffle my way through on using my phone, how I bring the stuff back, how I put it on the computer and edit it and then put it on the YouTube. I don't know how interesting this has been, but I wanted to do something a little bit different to end the year off. You'll be pleased to know that normal running vlogs will return in January. And we'll be talking about all sorts of great things. I've got a new challenge coming up where I'm going to be trying to get a bit quicker. I've got other things that I want to talk about on the channel as well. So I really valued your input during the course of 2020. It's been a bonkers year, but we've kept going with the running and I've really appreciated all your input over the year. I will see you on the other side in 2021. Thank you so much for watching. Keep the comments coming, like and subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon.